No problems. Okay, so today we're going to just review a little bit from last class. Let's see, Martin, what do you remember from last class activities or the unit? Let's see, what do you have in there? Are you there, Martin? Yes? You can also type it, but I would encourage you to unmute yourself as well, if it's possible, of course. Maybe Lourdes as well. I don't think Lourdes was last class, actually. Anyways, so probably Martin is typing in there in the chat, so don't worry. I will read your answer whenever. Yes, are you there?
Yes, I had a problem with my.
Oh, it's comprehensible, don't worry.
And I think it was about meals.
Yes. So what else can you tell about last class? Maybe something that you learned in that class, maybe? A vocabulary, something? Don't worry, just think about it.
I don't really remember.
Oh, but don't worry. So yes, we were practicing last class as well. No? And can you actually see my screen now? Please give me a thumbs up, full screen. I share something with you. Yes, thank you, Martin. Yes, thank you, Lourdes. Perfect. Yeah, so today's vocabulary is something that somehow we practiced before, but in a new context. So let's have a quick review of homophones. So if you remember that homophones are words that are pronounced the same as another word, however, differs in meaning. Now, this time we are going to practice, or the vocabularies we're going to practice is about words that are often confused. So, yeah, maybe you are kind of confused now, but don't worry, we are going to know what are we talking about in a few. So words that are often confused are basically not homophones, but sometimes people confuse in whenever is the context, okay? So a great example of some words that are often confused are these two. So please pay attention. Okay, so I hope you like my little presentation. These are two words that are often confused. Attend and assist, okay? So let's check out with attend. Attend is be present at, and here we have some examples, an event, a meeting, or a function. So, for example, you are attending to the Zoom meeting classes, right? So you are attending to these classes. Now, let's talk about assist. So assist is to help someone, typically by doing a share of the work. In this case, for example, let's suppose that I assign you an activity, a task for you to complete, and probably it's going to be kind of long or probably is difficult. So you can share the work in pairs. For example, okay, you are going to do this part and you are going to be in charge of this part. So you can assist or help someone with by doing the share of the work. Okay, so let's see. Now I'm going to go to this part here. Now let's have a little discussion here. What are some other words that can be confusing? Let's see who we have here in the participant list. We have, yes, okay. So Lourdes and Martin, sorry. So what are some words that can be confusing in your opinion, Martin, in this case? Can you unmute yourself in this case, please? Think about it. Also, Lourdes, if you can unmute yourself, you are welcome to participate, okay? Okay,
Maybe the
Martin?
word,
Yes?
maybe the word actually when you are learning English for the first time, or beginners
That's
can be
correct. Yes, actually, um, some people, and especially in P1, when you are starting your English um, career, let's call it, or everything, yeah, people would normally confuse actually. And yes, teacher Claudio is also helping. Good example. Yes, that's actually a very good example. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, that's actually interesting. Now, let's think about, do you, oops, there. Do you have any funny anecdotes where you actually misunderstood something? Let's let's talk about when you started your English studies. You were, of course, practicing your English, and your English wasn't that good yet. So maybe you heard someone speaking in English, and just because of one little word, you misunderstood something that this person said, maybe your teacher or a student that you were just listening to. Do you have any funny or interesting anecdotes about misunderstanding some words, maybe? Let's see. Mm. Let's see. Lourdes or Martin, if you have, you can just unmute yourselves and speak up. Or you can just type it. Don't worry, okay? I can also check the chat if you have any comments about it. Let's see. I'm just gonna wait a little bit. Yes, Lourdes.
For, yes, teacher. For example, and the word sensible is not the same as in Spanish. So I remember when I confused that word because I thought it was the same as in Spanish, but it isn't.
That's correct. Yes. Sensible and sensitive, right? They are actually kind of the opposite in meaning, at least in English. That's a very good example. Yeah. Did you misunderstood something just because of that? Maybe just that word make you confuse something that you heard of?
No, I wanted to say that I am a sensitive person, but I said I
Ah,
am sensible. So that's
ah,
what my mistake.
yeah, sensitive versus sensible. Yeah, that's a very good example. Yeah, thank you for sharing this anecdote. Sorry. Yeah, good example. And in this case, Martin says he doesn't have one in this case, but it's okay. Don't worry. Now, let's go to, I'm going to just share another. Here I have one activity. Let me just do new share. Here. Okay. So can you see my new screen? Please give me a thumbs up. I will really appreciate it. Thank you, Lourdes. Thank you. Now, here we have vocabulary, this is on page 97, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just confirm it to you. You can go to page 97 on your books if you want to check these vocabularies out, or maybe complete it now. Yes, on page number 97. Okay, so words that are often confused. And in letter A, we have the words foreigner, outsider, and strangers are often confused. What do they have like difference in meaning? So maybe you can give your guess. I'm going to wait for your answers, maybe, and don't worry. Just no pressure. If you want to share your opinion about the meanings, you can just type it, or you can either just unmute yourself, and then we check. Okay, so foreigner. In your opinion, what is a foreigner for you?
Someone that is not from the same country as you.
Maybe, yeah, can be accurate. What about an outsider, in this case, Lourdes? Let me just also try to make Lourdes participate. Are you there, Lourdes? Maybe she has some problems with the audio, but it's okay. So Martin, an outsider, sorry. What, in your opinion, an outsider is?
Someone like is not from the, let's say, from the same area maybe that you.
Yeah, that could be. And finally, stranger.
Someone that you don't know.
Good. That's very accurate. Yeah. So we are going to check the meanings in a few, don't worry. But in this case, I want you to look at this. We're going to complete this as an example, these two. Oh, here we have an answer. Let me just check it. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry, Lourdes. It's okay. Don't worry. At least you are participating throughout the chat. No worries. Okay. So here we have, look at some other words that are often confused. For each pair, complete the sentences with the right word. You may need to change the form, okay? So that means that you might have like some little differences with, you know, suit or suits. You can pluralize it. Let's suppose that, yeah. Now, number one, we have listen and repeat just from your houses, suit. Okay, here we have suit. And here we have sweet. Okay, so suit and sweet. There we have two examples, letter A and letter B. Now, this is just your guesses. Letter A, the hotel upgraded us and gave us a instead of a double room. And number two, or letter B, sorry, you should definitely wear a to the interview. You'll make a better impression. So, since Martin can actually unmute himself, I'm going to assign letter A for you, okay, Martin? And letter B, so in this case, Lourdes, you can just write it in the chat, your answer, okay? No pressures. So please, Martin, can you read the whole sentence with your answer, please?
The hotel upgraded us and gave us a suite instead of a double room.
So the hotel upgraded us and gave us a suite instead of a double room. Yes, very good. And let's check with Lourdes now. Letter B.
You should definitely wear a suit to the interview. You'll make a better impression.
Very good. Yes, in this case is a suit. Yes, very good. Now, Number 2, we have beside and besides. Okay. Now, let's do Lourdes. You're going to have letter A, and Martin, you're going to have letter B. Okay. So letter A is let's not go out tonight. I'm tired and I want to read. And letter B says they live in a new apartment building, the school. So you have beside and besides. Don't worry if you don't have it like the right answer just right away. It's okay. So Lourdes, can you read the whole sentence from letter A, please?
Yes, let's not go out tonight. I'm tired, and besides, I want to read.
So you said besides, right?
Yes.
Okay. What about you then, in this case, Martin? Letter B, please.
They live in the new apartment building beside the school.
Beside the school. Very good. So let's check these two answers. And before that, just remember that these activities, or in this case, this particular activity, you have on page 97 on your book. You have more examples to complete, but of course, these two examples we are just going to complete here. So you have a little reference of what to do, okay? Now, let me just share my screen again with my PowerPoint presentation here. Okay, so can you see my PowerPoint? The new, yeah, thank you, Martin. Thank you, Lourdes. So now we have here a foreigner, a stranger, and an outsider. As Martin said, sorry, a foreigner is someone from a country other than your own. So a foreigner can be a person from, I don't know, Argentina, Brazil, or from another continent as well, like, you know, Europe, Asia, etc. A stranger is someone whose identity you don't know. Yes, you were also right, Martin. And then finally, an outsider is someone who does not belong to your group or who doesn't come from the town you live in. A good example can be here. We have Martin and Lourdes. So you are probably not from the same city or from the same Advanced Superior 2 group that you originally were in. So yeah, and probably teacher Claudio was not your teacher either. Yes, so that can be an outsider. Now, and here we have beside and besides. These were kind of difficult. That's why I also brought it so as to clarify them. And beside, without the S, tell us the location of something. And besides, on the other hand, means in addition, in addition to, may cover, or as well, depending to the context. So yes, you were also correct with those two activities we had with beside and besides. Now, oops, let me just go back. Yeah. Yeah, let me just stop sharing it. Now, so can you think of more examples from, you know, vocabularies that are often confused now that you have actually finished with these little examples that we had? Maybe if you don't have any, don't worry, it's okay. Just to have like a final review in this case. Maybe Martin or Lourdes, don't worry, it's okay. You can just say no in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourselves, no problem. Let's see. Maybe so you are typing, yeah. Just waiting for a little second. Okay, so Martin is confirming that he doesn't have any at the moment. Of course, as I told you before, on page 97 on your book, you have more examples of these words that are often confused. And yes, Lourdes, you will also have actually as one of the examples, okay? So, next class, of course, we're going to continue with reviewing the vocabularies, and in this case, Teacher Claudio, all yours. I hope you enjoy the class, and Teacher Claudio is back with you, okay?
Thank you, George.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. That was great. That was very complete. All right. So now you are ready to do all the vocabulary part for Unit 10A. Now let's focus on the grammar, okay? So let me share my screen with you. Okay. Can you confirm that you see the screen, please? Great. Thank you. All right. So in this unit, we're talking about immigrants or emigrating, traveling from one place to another, right? And take a look at these sentences right here. These are ideas that people who emigrated from their countries expressed, okay? For example, this lady says, in fact, my husband first came up with the idea of moving there, or of moving here, actually. This lady right here, Renata, right? And you need to change the expression in a slightly different way, in which you would add like a little more emphasis. And you usually do that by changing the word order. As you can see, it says, in fact, it's, right? So you're not gonna start with my husband, right? You're gonna start with, it was my husband, the one. So it was my husband who first came up with the idea of moving here, right? Now I want to hear you. Can you unmute yourselves, please? Why do you think you would say it this second way and not the first way? What's your opinion? Lourdes, Martin?
I think you emphasize to the person who get the idea of doing something.
Excellent. Very good, Lourdes. Exactly. You're trying to stress or emphasize that it was her husband, the one who came up with the idea, right? Excellent. Really good. And notice what happens to the grammar, right? You change the grammar, you change the word order, right? Let's look at the second one. If you're prepared to work hard, you can get what you want. And that's what I like best. And now you're supposed to start with what? Can I have any guesses? If you can unmute your mic and try to say the same thing starting with what? Who wants to try? I know it's a little difficult. Remember that you're changing the word order, right? Maybe what's at the end will be at the beginning. Nobody wants to try? Let's see the chat. Okay. All right. So let me tell you then here. What I like best is that if you're prepared to work hard, you can get what you want, right? So you start with what I like best, and then you continue, right? So this is actually called adding emphasis in grammar and cleft sentences, all right? So let's take a look. Yeah, and you change the order to add more emphasis. So let's take a look at ways we can do that, okay? One way that you can do that is beginning with what or all. For example, you want to say, I need a coffee. You want to emphasize more, what I need is a coffee, right? Or I don't like the weather here. What I don't like here, it's the weather. or I just want to travel. All I want is to travel. I only touched it. All I did was touch it. So it has a lot more emphasis in this way, right? Yeah, very good. Yeah, teacher George is saying every teacher on Saturday morning. Yeah, you should have unmuted your mic and said that, George. That's funny. Yeah, we live on coffee. All right. Now, other ways, beginning with what happens or what happened was, right? And this is very typical in spoken language, right? For example, you take a test and then you have an interview. So what happens is that you take a test and then you have an interview. And I can picture two people explaining to each other the process, right? Or we left our passports at home. What happened was that we left our passports at home, right? Notice that that is optional. You can keep it in, keep it out. If you include that, it becomes a little bit more formal, right? It's even less formal if you take it out. What happened was we left our passports at home. Okay, and then finally, we have the person who, the place where, the first, last time, or the reason why. For example, I spoke to the manager. So the person that I spoke to or who I spoke to was the manager. Notice that they don't include whom, right? So this is totally informal. We stayed in a 5-star hotel. The place where we stayed was a 5-star hotel. I last saw him on Saturday. The last time I saw him was on Saturday, and I bought it because it was cheap. The reason why I bought it was that it was cheap, or because it was cheap. Okay, so again, you change the word order for emphasis, right? Finally, we have it. A boy in my class won the prize. It was a boy in my class who won the prize. We had the meeting last Friday. It was last Friday when we had the meeting, and they charged us extra for the bread. It was the bread that they charged us extra for. Okay, so notice that you start with it and then to be in the correct tense according to the context of your story. All right. So do you guys have any questions about this? It is not really that difficult. What you have to pay attention to, like we have been doing, is subject-verb agreement, okay? Be careful, right? He, she, the auxiliaries, do, does, did. All of those can be tricky, and then maybe you might be making a small grammar error when using those. Okay, and these are perfect expressions for talking about your experiences, or maybe experiences of people that you know about immigration and traveling to another country, right? For example, in my case, I have moved countries many times. So if I'm telling you my story, when I first went to the United States, I didn't speak any English. So to emphasize, I could say it was the language, the one that caused a lot of problems for me at first, right? Or maybe it was the pronunciation, the one that confused me a lot. The sounds, right? I would hear these sounds and I couldn't imitate them yet, right? The phonetics. Okay, yes, thank you, Javier. I read your message. Teacher Javier is writing in the chat. So I want to hear maybe some of your stories. I'm sharing my screen again. Okay, can you confirm if you can see it, please? It says communicative function. Thank you, great. So first, why do you think right? What are the reasons why somebody might decide to go and live to another country or maybe to another city in their country? Can you guys unmute yourself and share some ideas? So please unmute yourself, or you can also write it in the chat, but I prefer to hear you, okay? You know, Paraguay has millions, all right? Millions of people. There are millions of Paraguayans living outside of Paraguay. And we're not that big a country. What is it, 7 million? And we're talking about millions? That's almost 10% or maybe even 20%. That's a lot. What are the reasons why people do that? What's your opinion, Lourdes or Martin?
I think because they can't find a job here, that's why they decide to go to another country to better opportunity to that when they can work.
Yes, very good. Definitely, that's probably the number one. What else? What could be other reasons? Maybe in the past.
Maybe because some people love the country or the culture of a different country.
Did you say love? They love it?
Yeah, like the culture. Like for example, in my case, I love basketball, and one of my dreams is to go to California, play some pickup games in Venice Beach.
Nice, yes. Exactly, yes. So opportunities and yeah, basketball is really not that big here, right? In Paraguay, people love soccer. You know, people are not so crazy about basketball. Great. Are you in the university, Martin?
And I'm about to go in the university.
Oh, are you a good basketball player? Do you play?
I play. I don't know if I'm good.
Yeah, because you know that people say this a lot. I haven't experienced it myself because I'm not into sports, but it's a little bit easier to get a scholarship in a university in the United States if you are very good at a sport, right? So if you're good, you should look into that.
Yeah, but I think my height then doesn't live the
Oh, your
minimum.
height, your height.
My height.
Well, again, if you are really good, there were some NBA players, a few, but there were some that were short, and they used that to their advantage. I don't remember the name, but I know that there was an African American NBA basketball player. He was really short, but he was there. All right. And next, the book asks you for critical thinking. Think of the pros and think of the cons. These guys you should really always remember, right? Because this is a very good mental process because you might be in favor of traveling. So yeah, I love traveling. I want to travel so bad. So you can only see all the benefits, all the pros. But it's also good to be ready and to think of all the cons. And the opposite might be true also. Let's say that you are against traveling. You really don't want to do it. So you only see the cons inside your head. But you should also see the pros, right? It's a very good debating technique. So you're ready to argue with your opponents, right? So what do you think are some pros of traveling to another country? Give me two pros, two advantages.
For example, if you go to a country like the US, if you go there, you can improve your English. You can speak better. I think that can be one.
Definitely. Exactly. What's another one?
Can be learn for their culture also.
Yes. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What could be an example of that?
for example, the food they use to the food they eat, that is not the same as we have here. Our diet is not the same as they. Also, the university, how they teach, how they learn also is not the same as in our country.
Yes, those are two examples. Very good. Yes, cultures vary, right? And I mean, we shouldn't lose our own Paraguayan culture, but we should imitate positive things that maybe we don't have. One of them could be what you're saying is maybe variety in the cuisine, the food. We were just talking about food last week, right? Or it could also be maybe taking more care of our eating habits. Like there's so many people who are vegans or vegetarians in the US, and we love meats, right? And education too, definitely excellent. How about the cons, the negative aspects? What would you say are two negative aspects of traveling to another country?
One can be that you really gonna miss your relative that are here, and you maybe gonna feel alone sometimes, and you gonna want to come back.
Definitely, yes, yes. That's probably like, yeah, the affects, right? The heart missing your mom, right? Home, being homesick. Great. What else? What could be another one? Martin, what do you think? Let's check maybe in the chat. Okay. Great. Maybe another con could also be the culture, right? The shock. Have you heard of the expression culture shock? Where things are so different that the change is actually shocking, and it can be difficult to adjust at first.
Yeah, I have one thing to add in that case.
Yes.
And that was actually Lourdes talked about practicing your English maybe if you go to the States. I just remember something that I heard from one of our colleagues that, yeah, it's definitely important for us to improve our own English. And let's suppose a student goes to the States and hears about this, is going to a supermarket and the cashier is asking for plastic or paper. What is plastic or paper? You might wonder because you will probably never hear of or you have never even imagined this possibility. So plastic was referring to the credit cards, right? And paper, cash. So if it was like plastic for the credit card or debit card and paper for cash, paying with money, real money. So this is something that maybe you will never listen to, native, people from Paraguay who speaks English, like saying it, but definitely if you go to the States and if you listen and if you go to a supermarket or a store there, you might listen off. So that can improve your English, somehow if you go there, yeah.
Great. Thank you. Yes, definitely. Very good examples. So this can help you for your paragraph writing, okay? But it's always a good idea to see the pros and the cons, and then to choose one. Which one is more my opinion in that case, right? Okay, let's practice the grammar a little bit. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you guys see this, the screen? It should say 10A grammar. Okay, thank you. So please unmute your mics and let's do this out loud so we can do it a little faster, okay? It says, rewrite the sentences starting with the person, the place, the first, the last time, or the reason, and keep the emphasis on the bold phrase. For example, I've always wanted to visit Istanbul more than anywhere else. And so you start with the place I've always most wanted to visit is in Istanbul. So we have these peculiar examples right here. For example, number 2, he married her for her money. And you can start with the person, the place, the reason. Who wants to try?
The reason why he married her was for her money?
Yes, very good. The reason why he married her was her money. Was her money. Very good. Okay. Let's see. Very good. Okay. How about number 3? Martin, are you able to unmute your mic?
Yes.
So it says, she loves her niece more than anyone else in the world.
Mm,
You can start with any of these up here. Her niece. Okay.
her niece is the person that she loves more than anything in the world.
Okay, yes, that's another way to do it. Or you know, since it tells you to start with these, the person, right? What if you start with the person? How would that be?
Mm,
You are gonna be changing the word order.
don't really
Okay,
have it clear.
Lourdes, you wanna try? Start
Yes.
with the person.
The person that she loves more than anyone else in the world is her niece.
Perfect, excellent. Perfect, fantastic. So the person she loves more than anyone else in the world is her niece. Yes, niece, right? You know what niece is, right? Your brother or your sister,
Yes.
daughter.
Daughter. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Okay. So you're gonna have this kind of activities in the book, okay, and in the workbook. All right. And so after the class today, make sure that you spend at least 1 hour doing that, okay? Now I wanna go back to, I wanna do some breakout rooms, okay? So it's probably gonna be, teacher George with one of you, right? With Lourdes or Martin, and me with one of you, okay? Because I know that teacher Javier is a teacher, right? Patricia Cuevas is a teacher. Gustavo Grunfeld is a teacher, right? If I'm not confused, or are you a student? Yes, a teacher, okay, great. So Gustavo is a teacher. And I'm gonna be sharing my screen. Let me look for my screen, okay. Yes, speaking part. Oops, no. This is communicative, yes. Okay, sorry. I have too many screens open. Okay. This is a very interesting topic. Can you see my screen? Okay, this is in your book on page 95. So if you have your book right there, you can open it to page 95 so you can see all these questions. You're going to be talking about these questions, okay? And if you don't happen to have your book there, you can take a screenshot of the computer or of your phone so you have these questions right there, okay? Do you know any second generation immigrants to your country? What country did their parents originally come from? Do the parents in the family still keep up their language and culture? What about the children? Or do you think some children of immigrants might have a conflict of identity? Why or why not? Okay, these are very interesting questions. And then you can continue in whichever way the dialogue takes you, okay? Maybe you can talk about your own experience, maybe, or a family member who is outside of Paraguay and what is happening to them. Do you have any family that is living outside of Paraguay? Okay, so those will be the questions. Let me start with the breakout rooms right now. Let me see, so yeah, so Lourdes is in one and Martin is on the other, okay? So Teacher George, you're gonna have to choose, okay? You're gonna join, tell me which room you're gonna join and then I'll join the other, okay? So there goes the invite. You need to accept and join to go into the room. We have room 1 and room 2. Teacher George, which one do you wanna go to? Oh my God, what happened to Teacher George? Oops. Oh, okay. I think he's having problems. Okay, change of plans, guys, sorry. All right, sorry, change of plans, okay? Everybody's coming back, let me see. I just lost Teacher George. There have been blackouts and internet problems all over the place, okay? So that's probably what happened to Teacher George. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just put Martin. Okay, now he's back. Teacher George, you're back. Okay, all right, so let me try again. Okay, the old breakout room. Yeah, I'm gonna open the rooms again. And Teacher George, you need to choose which one you wanna go to, room 1 or room 2, and let me know, okay?
I mean, I don't mind, it's okay.
Okay, so you go to room 1, okay? I'm going to assign you to room 1.
Perfect.
Okay, and I'm gonna go to 2. The questions are the ones from page 95 about immigration, okay? Hi. Hi, Lourdes.
Hi, teacher.
So I'm sharing my screen here, okay?
Yes.
Do you know any second generation immigrants to Paraguay?
I don't know any person like to talk about with that person, but I know too many people that came, for example, from the US, like or other countries to invest in can invest their money for an entrepreneurship or something like that, like
Yeah.
big enterprises. those
Yes.
people, I
Yes, definitely. Good, good. We have a lot of those. We have a whole bunch of people like Japanese, the Mennonites, right?
yes. Also Brazilian people and to other countries also.
Yes, we have a lot of Brazilian people coming. Lately, they have been coming to study at the university.
Yes, that's also.
Um, so you don't know them personally, you said, right? You just heard of them, right?
Yes,
How
but
about,
I have a classmate from the university that came from Germany, like 5 years ago. He came with his family to have a new life here in Paraguay, and he said he missed Germany, and it was so difficult for him to change their culture, and the cuisines that we here eat are not the same that they are used to do it. So he said that was so difficult, but he knows thinks Paraguay is good to live here in Paraguay.
wow, yeah, nice. And do you know if they still kept their language and their culture at home?
Also, he practiced his language with other classmates that is Mennonite. Culture is like Germany.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Do you think that he could later have a conflict of identity, or maybe his children will have a conflict of identity if they stay in Paraguay?
I'm not sure. I think it depends of how he is gonna teach their children. Maybe he can teach them the two language like the Germany Spanish.
Yes, you also have Guarani there, right? There's two languages, which makes it more difficult. How about you? Do you have any family living abroad?
Yes, I have an uncle that lives in the U.S. in North Carolina, and he has their three three two daughters and one son, and they have their own family that they already born there in the U.S. They are American people already.
Yeah. And do you think they continue
And
with
sometimes,
Paraguay?
like,
Yes?
can you repeat it, sir? I
Yes.
didn't hear you.
Sorry, yeah, I interrupted you. Do you think that, do they continue with the Paraguayan culture and the Paraguayan language and the food and the music and all of that?
No, not really. My uncle, I think yes, kind of, but their their children are the children and children and of my cousins. I don't really think about it. I think they have their own culture like the U.S. like they have their.
Exactly, right? It takes over sooner or later.
Yes.
How about you? Would you ever travel to another country to live?
No, to live, no. Just for vacation, I traveled to Brazil 4 years ago, to Argentina, and last year. But just for vacation, never I want to live there.
Okay, great job, Lourdes. Always doing a good job. Pleasure talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, let's go
Thank you,
back to
teacher.
the big room. You're welcome. Let's see how Teacher George and Martin were doing. Okay, so welcome back. How was the conversation, Teacher George?
Great, yes. They were a little bit shy at the beginning, but doing great so far.
Yeah, with Lourdes, it was excellent. She was talking about families that she knows that have come to Paraguay, and also her uncle who lives in the United States. So it's very interesting. How about you, Teacher George? Would you ever
Yeah,
live in another country?
yeah, like we were discussing and mostly about number two, I believe, because they were mentioning that not necessarily they wouldn't have like any kind of conflict or of identity. So in the end, we all agreed that it's a matter of parents raising up their children, and yes, they might have some little cultural differences because they are exposed to a different country, but in the end, if parents do their best by raising up their children, there shouldn't be any cultural or conflict of identity.
You know, it's a very interesting topic for all of you if you want to continue reading, because it deals with sociology, linguistics, and sociolinguistics. We studied that,
Yeah.
and it changes. It changes depending on like boys and girls, like the children of immigrants. If it's a boy, if it's a girl, if it's the oldest, the firstborn, the middle, or the youngest child. Like if it's the youngest child and it's a boy, he is the one that will lose the parents' culture the quickest and will try to adapt to the place where they are at. However, if it's a girl, the girl is more likely to keep the language that the parents spoke and the traditions. So it's very interesting. If you guys want to continue reading about it and you like it, remember, reading for pleasure is going to help you a lot. Okay, guys, we have come to the end. Remember the platform activities, okay? Remember to go there. Remember to go to avisos importantes, right? Important messages, especially about the final exams and all the requirements. Saturday, we're gonna be touring the platform, doing some activities, watching some videos, and even taking the beginning of the quiz so you can be familiar with it and then do it on your own. Okay, do you have any questions? Lourdes or Martin, is everything okay? Are you catching up with all the work, all the activities in the platform? Okay, so it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Teacher George, okay, so much. And see you guys on Saturday, all right? Good night.
Bye bye, people.